Welcome, our fellow lovers of love, and thank you for joining us on yet another excursion through the stream of consciousness, down the river of tranquility, to fill the lake of life with love.
And good evening, our fellow lovers of love out there, and welcome to yet another, well, I guess this one's a spooky journey for us all tonight. Let me make sure things are actually working, just because the intro was weird. It was a little strange. It's like,
it wouldn't be a show if we didn't have technical difficulties in the intro, right?
What is it with us? Anyway, well, of course, I did have to, we went fast today. I didn't spend as much time getting the studio ready as usual, because we had a big day today.
Yes, we did.
And so I didn't have the normal amount of time to set up the studio. So maybe that has something to do with it. But we've got backup audio recording. And so just in case there's something wrong with this, we can upload the fixed version later. I don't know. All right. So tonight we were just talking about spooky Halloween, but did you want to discuss your day or no? We just want to move on?
Yeah. I was baptized today in the Christian religion. And I was raised a Southern Baptist, and I got off the path for quite a while. Drugs and alcohol kind of took forefront in my life for a while, and it's been a long journey. I've waited 50 years to do this. So today was an amazing day for me.
Yeah, it was, just a small family, some people who are some good friends were there. Just a little small thing, but emotional. Even me had tears watching my lovey go through something like that. So it was a moving experience. So it's kind of now this is an odd segue going from your baptism to Halloween. I'm not sure even I can come up with a smooth one for that.
Well, we're just going to dive in. Some people may think it's too early for Halloween, but I personally know of people who start decorating in September.
Well,
and if you're going to pack those Halloween movies in, you better start now, mister, because weekends get filled up.
Well, and I'm backed up. It's going to take a week for me to get, almost a week probably, to get everything caught up. I'm backed up on all kinds of sites. So I haven't been getting my job done the last couple weeks. So, yeah. It's a good thing we're recording this now, so it can get up on all the platforms, in a week, and then it's perfect timing for Halloween. So,
okay.
So it's it'll be good. So it'll have a couple weeks to germinate and to sit around, and we can share some clips if we find something that's interesting. And then, as always, we finish the show with questions about your life. Okay, so where are we starting tonight?
Well, we are starting with interesting facts about Halloween.
Okie dokie.
Okay. It happens every evening, everyone knows, 31st of October. But what most people don't know, it is the start of All Hallowtide, a series of Christian holidays meant to remember the dead, such as loved ones, saints, and martyrs.
Yeah, Halloween has many roots. It's not a single-rooted thing. In Hispanic countries, it's the Day of the Dead.
Yes.
October 31st to the November 2nd. Halloween costumes are the pagan tradition. I'm just trying to figure out how many of these I actually want to go through. Particularly the festival called, I'm going to butcher this, Samhain, which means summer's end. Preparation. Samhain. Okay, see, there you go. I told you I was going to butcher it. And it's the end of summer celebration, right? It's the fall festival. It's hey, we're done harvesting. The hard work is done. now the grueling winter is about to come upon us. So we've got to finish the hard. We've got to gather the firewood, do all that stuff. It's kind of the celebration, the mental pick me up, right?
Yes.
And that's kind of the reason Christmas exists in the doldrums of winter, is another mental pick me up to get you through the rest of the drolling winter. So anyway, what else we want to go? We've got, by the 1500s, the festival began including costumes. Okay, Halloween first appeared in Christian writings around 1745, so maybe it's not as strange a segue as we thought. Shortened the term from Hallows Evening, Old Hallows Eve, all that's kind of the same. Most celebrations of saints and martyrs were held from spring to summer. Oh, wow. They're just moving all over with these facts.
It's all over the place. By the 1100s, the festivals included street parades with criers in black asking people to remember the dead. Homes baked soul cakes marked with a cross and gave these out in exchange for prayers. Shakespeare mentioned this souling tradition in his play, The Two Gentlemen of Verona.
Fires, such as those burning in the jack-o'-lanterns, were thought to prevent demons from haunting the homes and guide wandering souls back to their families. People roaming the night could also ward off evil spirits. So you walk around, have candles and jack-o'-lanterns to scare off spirits and help guide spirits. That's strange. But it's doing both. It's guiding some and scaring off others.
I guess so.
I guess so.
Okay, the first recorded instance of guising in North America was in 1911. A regional Canadian newspaper from Kingston, Ontario, published an article about children disguising in costume as they roamed for food or coins around their neighborhood. So, trick-or-treat first happened in 1911.
As for the term trick-or-treat, the first printed mention was in 1927 in Canada, and it was from the newspaper Blackie Herald, based in Alberta. So it's those wacky Canadians again. I don't know. Well, I guess they probably, up north, they probably, a little more interested in the transition from summer to winter. Probably happens faster up there. So children often seen in Halloween postcards from the early 1900s, but they weren't trick-or-treating. Practice only became widespread in the U.S. anyway until the late 30s. So the Depression era.
Yeah.
Which is, so they still go to the rich neighborhoods to trick-or-treat. So suspecting. Okay. In rural areas where homes are spread far apart, the safer alternative known as trunk-or-treating is often arranged. So I guess they go to a church parking lot or something, and they go around cars.
Decorated cars, yeah.
Yeah,
Or a school.
It makes sense. Not just from safety standpoint, from a practicality standpoint.
Yeah, well, let me tell you, I went trick-or-treating. I was raised in a rural area, and you didn't get to very many houses, okay? You did not have a full bag of candy, unless the people were extremely generous, and most of them were, but...
Well, because we probably don't get many kids, It's not like where a van pulls up and 20 kids pop out. That's what happens in some places here. It's, certain neighborhoods attract trick-or-treaters from all over the city, and it's fine, right? Everybody's all for it. No one's really complaining except, the extra traffic. But just some of those neighborhoods get hammered for kids, and it'll get hammered for a couple years, and then they move on to somewhere else. I guess, that's too busy an area. We're going to go somewhere else now. And now you get quiet for a couple years. We, on the other hand, are always quiet.
We get the little ones early on, and we'll get like 2 or 3 more groups of kids later on in the evening, middle of the evening, and then sometimes we get teenagers kind of late, but not very many. So we end up with about 15 to 20
If maybe
kids.
total.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you get 5 at a time. They come in kind of bunches usually, which isn't unusual.
No.
No. So, but we've also had years where we've gotten essentially none.
Yeah, we have had years.
And so it's just that year everybody went somewhere else, or there's not very many families in the neighborhood, right? We've got to actually have a number of young kids in the neighborhood, in the last 4 or 5 years than we did, say, 10 years ago. So.
Not as many?
No, more.
More.
Yeah, there's more kids now. They're still young. They're little babies now, 2, 3 years old. We don't have a lot of 7, 8-year-olds in the neighborhood yet. We got but we got youngins. We got the really, really youngins.
I'll never forget the one. He was leaving. He said he was very nice. Trick or treat. I gave him the candy. Here you go. And he walked down the sidewalk. He walked down the walk. He got to the sidewalk. He turned around. He did something at his waist, and his eyes flared up. And I went, woof. And he went, hey.
Oh, hey.
I still got tricked. I gave him candy, and I still got tricked.
Yeah, but it was a fun trick.
I know.
It wasn't like he threw a whipped cream filled balloon at you or something. It was just a neat little thing. All right, so master escape artist Harry Houdini died on Halloween in 1926 from apparently a ruptured appendix, even though they still call it mysterious. Pets are part of the family, so they can't be left behind. In 2018, Americans collectively spent $480 million on Halloween costumes. What?
Oh, that's what I haven't done
Oh
yet.
my God. Oh yeah, Ramses would love that. I'm just gonna move on. Hey, here's this. In Ireland, it was customary for unmarried women to gaze into the mirror at night during Halloween to see the face of their future husband. Sometimes a skull might appear to signify the person will pass away before marriage. Talk about imprinting your future. You're only going to see what you want to see, right? Then what you've programmed yourself to see, maybe not what you want to see. You're only going to see what you expect to see on that kind of thing.
Who are you going to think of? You're only going to think of guys you know.
Nah, you'll come up with some goofy guy who quasi looks like a celebrity you find attractive. That's what'll happen. It won't be a real person. It'll be some amalgamation of some celebrity and your favorite things.
How do you know that?
Psychology. You're not going to get the person you imagine. It's just not possible. So what are you going to imagine? You're going to imagine the thing you think you're going to get. And so if you think you're going to, never get married, you're going to see the skull that the culture has taught you. You will see. If you have hope that you will find a husband one day, it's going to be Prince Charming. You're not going to imagine the troll. So it's just the way it is. Well, don't get me wrong. There will be some who will imagine, I'm going to get stuck married to some glute, right? So, but that's daddy issues. That's something different. Okay, so another Irish Halloween tradition involves hiding small items of food and serving these randomly. Small items in food, sorry. Fortunes depend on the item obtained. The coin predicts wealth. Ring signifies marriage, blah, 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 blah. Well, that's presumptuous. All right, so what do we got here? Oh, the San Mateo Haunted House began operation in 1957 and was soon followed by other attractions that provided popular. So haunted houses are now a cultural phenomenon, even though they're not really. They exist in the cultural thing, but how many people actually go to haunted houses now? So where are we at now? Where do we want to go? Haunted houses. The largest haunted house in the world is the Dragon's House of Horror. 7,183 feet long. That's over a mile. Mile and a quarter, something like that. Almost a mile and a half.
Oh my God.
The haunted house is located in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Yeah, now there's a reason to not make that right-hand turn in Albuquerque.
Rhode Island plays host to Jack-o'-lantern spectacular every year and has over 6,000 jack-o'-lanterns. It attracts around 140,000 visitors. I can say a number.
It's been a long day. Unfortunately, the practice of giving out candy apples faded due to nasty rumors of dangerous embedded items. The reality is that cases were extremely rare and usually traced to the children's own parents, according to research from the University of Delaware. Yeah, it's the theoretical, someone...
Munchausen syndrome.
Someone found a razor in a candy bar and it ended up being the mother or something. Yeah. I mean, on occasion, somebody will accidentally drop something in a bag that shouldn't be there. But most of the time, you're not finding, actually. We go through all these troubles to make people feel that the candy is safe. When the reality is nobody's giving out. Like every year, you're going to hear it. Be careful of like gummy bears and stuff because people are going to be giving away your drugs. No one's giving away their drugs to your kids on Halloween.
Sorry.
They're not doing it.
They're not.
At least not on purpose.
No.
It may happen on accident in some places, but no one's giving away stuff on purpose. So there's that. All right, so what do we got?
Well, we can move on to last minute Halloween costumes.
All right, so we're done with some fun facts. Okay. So it happens.
Okay, yeah, it sneaks up on you.
And next thing you know, it's Halloween. You weren't going to do anything. Bah humbug, Halloween. And then all of a sudden, you get a hair up your butt on Halloween day. And now all of a sudden, okay, now I got to come up with something. And you can't really dress up as a hooker anymore. It's not socially acceptable. So,
Honey.
or a hobo. You can't do the hobo anymore either, right? It's socially unacceptable. That's what we used to do as the last minute gifts. You get some old ripped clothes, you put them on, you put a little bag on the stick, and you could just go outside as a hobo. Or there was a time we wrapped me up in aluminum foil and as the robot.
They did?
Yeah. Well, my mother did, yeah. So, it happens. It happens. And, and now, especially if you're crafty, these things are crafty and artistic because a lot of times you want to end up with something cute and you end up with something like this picture, which is a scary Barbie.
Scary Barbie, yeah. You get a pink dress, funk out your hair, and just smear makeup.
Well, you know what's going to happen this year is there's going to be a lot of Barbies running around out there this year because of the Barbie movie. You're going to see lots of Barbies. And probably Kens. It wouldn't surprise me. Identity thief costume?
Yes. You get, put names tag stickers into the lining of a trench coat and, hey, buddy, want to buy an identity?
You can only that'll only go over on Halloween. And if you're older, don't do that. That's just creepy and not in the fun way. Serial killer costume. Good Lord, what are these things?
It's a dad pun Halloween costume.
Now, I used to go as the dead guy. I had a mask. Where the heck is it? I don't know where it went. Someone threw it away probably. But I had a mask, and you just dress up in essentially regular clothes, but with a scary mask on, and the dead guy. So, easiest costume on the planet. I'll be a luchador this year because I got a luchador mask. So.
Oh my gosh! I have a poncho this year with a skeleton on it.
See, there we go.
I'm set. And I can keep it forever. I can use it over and over again. And who doesn't need a skeleton poncho in their closet,
I'm going through some of these things, and none of these are good costume ideas.
Oh, you didn't like the Smarty Pants one?
Well, just put a bunch of Smarty wrappers on it, on some. No. If you actually do what they're asking, dig into your trick or treat candy for packages of the old fashioned candy and tape them to your pants.
Yeah, Smarty Pants.
No. Rain checks, cat's pajamas. Good Lord.
Okay, what about French kiss? Wear a beret and a striped shirt and have a bag of Hershey's Kisses, and there you go. You didn't like the rain checks?
No, these are lazier than I've ever done. They're not funny. Like the beat around the bush. You get a bush and you some beat headphones. I mean, come on now. These are just punny. They're not good costumes.
Chip on your shoulder? Come on, that's good.
No, that's punny, but it would be a terrible Halloween costume.
No, it's perfect.
No. Stop it. Try a little harder than that.
Copycat costume, what's that?
It's a cap. It's a t-shirt that has cat ears, maybe a tail that has copy on it. On the t-shirt. You write copy on the t-shirt.
That's fantastic.
No, it's punny. Which is fine. I love puns. Ghost Rider costume. You can't put on a sheet over your head these days. You can't do it. Ceiling fan. See. Right, go ceiling on your shirt or tape a sign that says go ceiling and run around. These are goofy. Now, if you're having a contest at work and you can come up with the dumbest, brightest costume, the stupidest bright costume, then okay, these are good ideas. But if you're actual Halloween costume, or if you're 23 and you're going to a kind of a satirical Halloween party, okay, fine. But just...
Well, sometimes you have a last minute come as you are party, and you want to go, you want to do a costume, you want to liven things up.
Okay, put on a jacket and come as a responsible adult. What do you want? Suit and tie. What are you dressed up as? As a responsible adult. That's what I'm dressed up as. Because this is never going to happen in the real life. All right. That's enough of that one. All right, so what are we talking? We got movies and entertainment, right, for Halloween. One of the great things of Halloween people like to do is they like to watch movies. Do we want to go movies or do you want to go Netflix thing?
Let's do the 10 movies.
All right, let's do 10 movies because we got like 7 minutes in this segment. So, all right, the 10 best Halloween movies of all time ranked by who? I don't know. Oh, the CBS News editor. Oh, perfect. The news editorial staff. Okay. We got a bunch of news editors. All right, so what's number 10?
Scream.
Okay, I guess. I don't know why Halloween movies have to be scary, but okay. I prefer funny Halloween movies. But cool, I get it. Rotten Tomatoes score, 79%. So that's not bad. And if you like those kind of movies, that's a good one.
Halloween Town. That's another classic for the kids.
Yeah, that's
family friendly.
That's a better one for me. In full disclosure, I am not a fan of horror films except for the original Fog. It's the only horror film I like, and it's not really even a horror film. But that is a good one. Not one of my personal favorites, but it is a good one. I'm not gonna, you don't have to you can acknowledge something's good without it being your favorite. Rotten Tomato score of 80. Oh, another classic.
Ooh, The Exorcist. I was 13. I couldn't sleep in a dark room for a very long time.
I didn't watch but 15 minutes of that. And like 10 years later, right? It wasn't not. I mean, I was 4 in 1973, so so clearly I didn't watch it then. But it came out on home video and whatnot, and I saw maybe 10 minutes, 15 minutes of it. No, it's not for me. The Blair Witch Project. Oh, come on.
Ooh, now that was scary.
I don't know. But if you like that kind of film, the thing about that one is it's how you can be entertaining for essentially almost nothing, $35,000. That's what they made that film for. And the sequel that they tried to make, which bombed, and they spent millions of dollars on. So, sometimes, having to make your project come alive with the shoestring actually makes it better, rather than having all kinds of resources to throw at it. That's the lesson to learn about the Blair Witch Project. You don't need $100 million budget to have a very, very good movie, or a movie that at least hits some cultural impact. That's why everybody hates clowns, or they fed on this goofy thing people have of being afraid of clowns. So there's that. Again, not one I've ever seen. Rotten Tomatoes was 86.
Witches. Remember Witches?
No.
It was actually a kid movie. It was from a children's novel.
Yeah, well, a lot of children's novels are actually horror things if you think about them too much. So.
It has a Rotten Tomatoes score of 93%.
So, yeah. I don't know. Is it a scary one, or is it?
I thought it was kind of scary, man, and I was an adult.
Yeah, I don't know. Again, not one I've seen. Now, here's one that I have seen. It's The Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown. Now, that's just because it's a classic, short, fun film, right? And people who are my age and older, that's nostalgia bait right there. That's what that one is. And, for anybody younger, like my kids, they don't know nothing about The Great Pumpkin. Even though they saw it as kids, it didn't impact them the way it impacted, us. People like us.
Well, it was a yearly event, man.
Yeah, it was. It's a yearly event. And, now in the days of streaming and everything's there when you want it, you don't have to wait. You only got to see it during Halloween. That's the only time. And if you missed it, you missed it for the whole flipping year.
Yes.
Yeah. So it was an event. And we don't get those anymore. Tomato score is 95%. I actually don't think it's a 95% movie, but I do think 95% of the people who like it, who watch it, will enjoy it. So maybe it is a 95% movie. You know what I mean? It's a classic work of art, but it's not the greatest thing ever. But yes, it's completely understandable that 95% of the people who watch it would like it. And so it's one of those things. It's probably higher rated than it deserves, but not at the same time. The Nightmare Before Christmas. This is one of those that I've actually have seen. Not my favorite Halloween movie, but I could watch it if I have to.
It's Halloweeny Christmas.
Yeah, it is a Halloween movie, but
I also watch it at Christmas too.
Yeah, so it's 95%. So it's one of those that crosses the cultural barriers. Halloween. I think I saw this one, but I don't remember much of it. Or did I see the second one? Anyway, I saw one of the movies of the Halloween series, and that's the only one I ever saw. I don't know why I watched.
I had never. Well, wait. I think I did watch the original part of it, but it got to be too intense, and I had to stop.
Yeah, I stopped watching slasher films. It was the Freddy Krueger ones were interesting, but as they went along, they became worse. So. Anyway.
And the number one Halloween movie is What We Do in the Shadows.
Really? The number one film on our list is a comedy. Well, that's just great. I get that. I have never even heard of it. So, an occasional bloody comedy. What We Do in the Shadows of the Stars. Taeko. Oh, God. Waidi? Oh, God. And Jermaine Clement. I apologize to anybody whose name I butcher names. My apologies. I should check these things before I come on. Jermaine Clement as vampire roommates, whose workday monster lives in the capital of New Zealand. Okay, so it's just a goofy comedy kind of set around Okay, so it's just a spoof comedy. Sounds good. 96% Rotten Tomatoes score. So that's some fun. And, you know, for Halloween, I probably would disagree with the list a little bit, but, you know, that's what lists are for. All right. So,
And we have, it's 9:30.
yeah.
We have a list of 25 best Halloween movie for kids that are on Netflix, and you can find that on our website,
Yep.
latenightLove.us.
There we go, because I've been forgetting to do that for like ever. So, yeah. And you can always find our these things are always on our website, latenightLove.us. They are there active and live. So that part I get done. It's getting them uploaded to like Spotify and Rumble and all that things that I lag on. So, okay. And the live version's out there if they're valid. Okay, so we've got our normal questions. Ooh, we're going to start with relationships?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. My 23 female boyfriend, 24 male, ripped out my hair and now I have a bald spot. Help.
Get out of the relationship.
No. He isn't. It wasn't because of that. It was in a moment of passion.
Change the way you have moments of passion. It would be my suggestion. Wear a hat. There's nothing you can do. Or just go bald and let it, you know, just go for it. There's nothing you can do, right? You got a bald spot. And ripped out. So it's going to have to heal and take care of that all on its own, naturally. Right? I mean, I suppose there's, you know, talk to your doctor about possible treatments, make sure nothing gets infected and whatnot. But change your activities. This would be my suggestion. Be more careful. Don't
let him near your hair.
Well,
when you're doing that.
Well,
she was doing something.
And
to him.
And
well,
I'm sorry. I cannot think of a single thing that would make me accidentally rip somebody's hair out, unless it gets stuck like between your hand and the bed or something. Like you're sitting on it or something.
I can't think either. He must be. They must be playing it rough to begin with. To get to that point.
Or a more likely thing is she doesn't want to tell the truth that's actually happening, so she's made up an excuse, and it really is an abusive relationship, and she's hiding it, and she needs help.
You think so?
That would be my guess. Otherwise, it's an accident, and an accident I can understand. Other than that, no, that's not normal. So, yeah, reconsider your relationship would be my actual suggestion. How's that? Okay.
All right. My wife, 27 female, expects me, 27 male, to have sex 3 to 4 times a week, but I feel incapable. What do I do?
Give it the college try. It would be one kind of crass suggestion. But you're just going to have to talk with her about it, because maybe there's a physical thing.
Maybe there's a compromise there. Maybe you can, be present while she,
Yeah, well,
does her thing.
You may want to actually talk to a doctor, because a 27-year-old man, 3 to 4 times a week shouldn't be out of something out of the ordinary.
I hadn't thought of that.
Out the ordinary, unless you're like a real physical job and you just get home beat tired, or you're dealing with a lot of stress and you're just not in the mood. It could be because of stress. Those are possibilities. But maybe a doctor or a psychiatrist. Maybe you're not feeling your best self, and so you're not feeling worthy to be that close 3 to 4 times a week. So there's other options. But my suggestion is maybe have a talk to your doctor, because 27-year-old man, barring like high stress or something, shouldn't feel 3 to 4 times a week, shouldn't be something that feels like a burden. That's not the normal reaction. Now, it's, maybe he doesn't have a high sex drive, and that's normal for him, and that's fine. And you're just going to have a discussion with your wife. So, But
Yes.
maybe talk to your doctor. Just maybe, especially if this is a change in your sex drive recently. So, there's actually a lot there to unpack. And I don't know how much time we want to spend on actually unpacking that. But there's more to that question than meets the eye. So talk to a doctor, psychiatrist, self-reflect. Or you've got sexual incompatibility, sexual desire incompatibility at the moment, but it will shift. It does over time. It just does. Ebbs and flows. That's what relationships do.
They do.
So, but anyway, I have an instinct that you should probably talk to your doctor or psychiatrist. It's either stress or physical. I would maybe, just maybe. Okay.
All right. How do I, 25 female, politely tell my quote-unquote friend, 25 female, I'm not interested in speaking to her anymore? Okay, this girl will pour out her heart to this other lady, and then what she gets in response is, and then she starts talking about herself.
Well, she doesn't know what to do, so she reverts to talking about herself. That's understandable. It's also understandable that you don't want to engage in that relationship anymore. But here's the thing. You don't need to do nothing. Just stop pouring your heart and soul out to her. You don't have to stop speaking with her anymore. Just stop speaking with her as often. You can relationships ebb and flow. It's perfectly fine. And if it's time to slow down, my suggestion was just stop pouring your heart and soul out to her. Tell her, say hello, see how they're doing, and move on with the conversation. Change what you expect out of the relationship before you ditch the relationship, I think would be better. Personally. I don't think you ditch relationships unless you absolutely have to, but you can change them. And you don't need anybody's permission, or you don't need to notify anybody to do it. You just do it. You just change your behavior. She's not entitled to your emotional outpourings. She calls you, you say hello, and you talk for 5 minutes, and the relationship will evolve that way. That's my suggestion. Or the other way is you could deal with it and say, I'm not interested in speaking with you anymore, but that creates a lot of probably unnecessary drama. You may be in a relationship based on habit at this point. So change your habits. Okay. What's next?
All right. My husband, 33 male, and I, 32 female, struggle constantly with how to communicate about the care of our daughter. In his words, I am in charge and need to tell him precisely her needs. Please advise me on learning to communicate effectively in this. How can I help him see his role in parenting the way I do?
Okay, one, you're going to have to give up on him seeing his role the way you do, because that's never going to happen. Just as this is a misinterpretation of probably cultural traditions. I am going to take a guess. But how am I going to do this? There are parents who will sometimes become, overly demanding and not realize it. It's probably the wrong word. Overly demanding is not the word I'm looking for. Controlling without realizing it. And so men will become frustrated. Just tell me exactly what you want me to do. Because what he's doing, you're probably saying, well, you're doing it wrong. You're doing it wrong. You're doing it wrong. But what he's doing is not doing it your way. See? And you're trying to, how can I communicate to him to agree with me, rather than how can I let go and let him parent his way? Because men and women parent differently. Even if you have the same general outside, we want to get the kids to the same thing. We agree on that. We can even agree on the same generic kind of path that the children are going to go through. But you're still going to have disagreements within that, because men and women view the world differently. Sometimes in the most generic sense, men try to prepare their kids for the future. You have to become tough and strong, and women try to protect them from danger and hurt. And those are at times mutually exclusive. You can't be adventurous and brave while being wrapped in bubble, in bubble wrap. And so my guess is that's what there's a fundamental difference. He's given up and he said, just tell me exactly what you want me to do. Because he doesn't want to argue with you about it. He just wants you to tell him what you want to do so you're happy and so we can all be happy. My suggestion is to stop communicating and just let him parent. Would be my guess. I could be completely wrong, but my guess is he needs to be allowed to parent. He's 33. He's never been allowed to fully actually accept the responsibility that parenting has. So he says you're in charge because he doesn't want to fight you. And every time he tries to take some role in it, he's probably having to fight with you about it, so he's given up. How do you change that? That's a marriage counseling issue. But my suggestion is, besides going to marriage counseling, is to let go. Actually, if you want him to parent, you're going to have to allow him to parent his way. Just like he's allowed you to parent your way, and you're feeling frustrated and overwhelmed. Well, if you want to stop feeling frustrated and overwhelmed, you're going to have to offload some of that responsibility and let the chips fall where they may. It'll be all right. It won't be what you want, but it'll be all right. Yeah, am I right there? Yeah. Anything? No? Sure.
I think he needs to start spending some time alone.
Yes.
With the baby, with the child. We don't know if it's a baby.
We don't know if it's a baby or for the child. They're in their 30s. I'm guessing he's a little older. Their childs are a little older. But he doesn't know what her needs are, and he can't find them out because you've always directed him what to do. And so you're just going to have to let him figure it out. And it's not always going to be pretty, but everybody will survive. You know how we know? Because we're all here. We will survive. Just my guess is she is a little bit, I don't want to say controlling because that's bad. That's, it's not, she doesn't mean to be, right?
Vigilant.
Yeah, she's overly vigilant would be my guess, right? And it impacts his ability to accept his responsibility as a father. And so in a sense, you're going to have to let go so he can pick it up. You can't pick it up if you're not willing to let go of it. If you want him to carry some stuff, you have to let go of that stuff. And if he doesn't pick it up, that's a discussion for and I do suspect that they have communication issues and some realities. They don't have the same reality, so some counseling would help. Okay, what's next?
Okay. On average, per week, month, how many nights per week do you spend away from your kids? Okay, he has he has a job that he works late at night.
Mm-hmm.
He has to work late. So by the time he gets home, the kids are in bed.
Mm-hmm.
Now, he tries to get away as often as he can and make it home for dinner.
Yeah. Okay, just by the way, we're on to parenting questions. Look, there is no right or wrong way to do this. As someone who had to work multiple jobs and would often not get to see the kids very often, very, very much during the weeks and whatnot, you take advantage of the time you can find. You don't work every day. And I know those days off, you're tired, you need to rest and whatnot, but that's when you focus on the kids. Don't focus on what you don't have, focus on what you do. Because the kids need you out there working, earning a living, paying the bills. They need that just as much, as they need your time. I know we like to say they need your time more than they need it's not true. Now, there is a limit to that, right? If you're working 80 hours a week just because we want more things, it's different than if you're working 45 hours a week to make sure everybody has food on the table and a roof over their head, right? There's differences.
Yes.
And so don't focus on what you don't have is be my suggestion. Focus on what you do. That time you do have with your kids, it's not the daily dinners I mean, there is some, there is some to that, but those are overrated. It's if you can continually have the conversations, the kids love to see you, they're excited for you to be home, and you spend some happy time with them, that will be enough until you can get yourself into a position in life where you'll be able to spend more time.
And that time will come.
It will come. These things ebb and flow, and it's sad. I understand the emotion. So, but the focus should shift from not what you're losing to what you have, and look for ways to change. Right. One of the things about this is you're a hardworking person. You're out there getting all these. Well, look for a different employment situation that will better foster your family. It will come if you look for it. So keep your eyes open. Keep your eyes open and your nose to the grindstone at the same time. And in 5 years, you cannot imagine where you will be in 5 years. And so there's not a good answer there, but there is. So just focus on the time you have, not the time you don't. Would be my suggestion. I'm so unhappy with that answer. But okay, what's next?
What's the most useful thing you have for your toddler? Okay, they're adopting a toddler from China, and she's going to be 2. And they need to know what equipment, what do they need? They're going to have a baby shower.
Well, a toddler's just a toddler. Really, all toddlers actually need is a place to sleep, some good food, and love. That's what toddlers need, right? Everything else is bonus. So first understand that, okay? Toddlers need, warm place to sleep, warm, comfortable place to sleep. They need to be fed properly and cared for medically, and they need love. And that's probably an inverse order, right? Love probably comes first, food, shelter. Especially if you're talking about adopting one from China, that love is going to be the most important thing you can give that toddler. And then from the rest of that is, find things that all kids like to play with. They like blocks. They like, toys that make lights and sound, see and says. Just, they don't need a lot. They're toddlers. They need your time.
You might want to start with some board books.
Yeah, things to read.
Read to the child. Yeah,
read to them. And since you're getting a child from a different culture, maybe you make sure you have some items that keep them attached to that culture in the same way. Find some cultural toys, cultural items that, while they won't know it's familiar to them, right? They're toddlers. They're not going to know it's familiar to them. But in 15 years, it will be important that you've kept those connections. So that would be my other suggestion, is to find some.
That's a great idea.
Merge the cultures.
Yeah.
Make sure you find some way to merge the cultures. Okay.
Best way to stop Binky using a 2-year-old.
Lose it. Well, you don't even have to lose it. Just allow them to lose it and don't replace them. They'll get over it. That's the best way. Worked every time. Tried it 5 times. Worked every time. You just stop buying them. That's how you do it. Yeah, it might be it's more traumatic for some children than others, but 48 hours, they're over it. 72 hours for most of the cases. Now, if you've got an autistic child or something, then you may have to use a different strategy. But for 90% of the kids, 9 times out of 10, just stop buying replacements and they will lose them.
You lost it. Is that what you tell them?
Yeah,
you lost it. It's gone.
It's gone, man. I told you to start keeping track of that thing. So, because that's when they get to the age where they can understand the concept that they have to, if they want it, they have to keep track of it. It's actually a good thing. You're teaching them how to keep track of something that's important to them. So in a way, that's good, and they'll eventually lose it anyway because they're kids. But they'll get that imprinted on them. But yeah, just stop buying replacements is my suggestion. Okay.
Does your child get sad about birthdays? Okay, this poor little guy. He's 5. He's about to turn 6. And he cries every day. His birthday's coming up, right? He cries all the time. He wants to go back to being 4. He does not want to grow up.
I agree with him. Growing up sucks. Why the hell would you want to? That's a smart kid. That's what that is. Kid's going to be a philosopher. He's already got it figured out. I don't know. What do you do about it? In a sense, you can't do anything about it. You know, the more big of a deal you make it, the bigger deal of it is you make it. You know, it's one of those. For my personal strategy with my kids, and I'm going to agree, I'm a little abrupt with these kind of things. Is yeah, life growing up sucks, dude. I agree with you. But guess what? You're going to do it anyway, so be happy about it. And, you know, but that was me. We all deal with these there's no right or wrong way to deal with this one. So you know your kid, you know your family. Just so, and it's kind of amusing because, yeah, you're right. I want to go back to 4 too. So I'm with them. Completely agree. So, but yes, just, I don't know. You know, that one you're just going to have to trust your instincts and deal with it. Because, yeah, my way would be to be blunt. Yeah, you're right. It sucks. Growing up sucks. You know, is 6 the age to acknowledge that? Probably young, but that's what I would do. I'm not going to lie to him.
Well, I know. I mean, what are you going to make him feel like he's being a weirdo or something? I mean,
No,
he's onto something here. Okay.
Yeah, he knows he's right.
Yeah.
So just, you know, accept with him that he's right and say, but, you know, focus on the things that.
Focus on the positives.
Yeah, try to focus on the positives.
The things that you're going to be able to get to do.
And my guess would be introduce him into some philosophers. It's my guess. He might find him something that he can sink his teeth into, and you'll have a better outlook on life. Okay, what's next?
Okay, we got work questions.
Oh, fun.
My boss has denied my holiday requests. Any advice on what to do?
How bad do you need your job? Just take them anyway. You've got part-time off and sick days and whatnot. You can take them anyway. If not, then you have to, you know, work them. That's a simple equation. Unfortunately. Yeah. Find a different job. It is what it is. There's no good advice on what to do. Now, if your boss has a boss, and you know maybe your boss didn't follow policy on making that decision, you may have somewhere to go. But HR is not your friend, so you deal with the boss's boss and that kind of thing. But you are likely out of luck unless you're willing to take the risk of having to walk. But it's a tough job market out there, so I've got no good advice on that one. I tell somebody to walk away from their job because of a holiday request, but you know, in a hot job market, you can. In a bad job market, it's a little different. So, if you got offers on the table, maybe it's time to take them. All right, what's next?
Okay. Senior management is upset I asked for a raise. I can't quit. Help.
Okay.
Okay. She was not really promoted, but she was given responsibility over people.
No.
So now she's management.
Yep.
So now she asked for a raise, and they're upset with her.
Well, then, in that particular case, then you then you just say, no, I'm going back to my old responsibilities. I'm not paid for this. This is not it's not what we agreed to in our, it's not what I signed up for. You can pull out your responsibilities agreement when your letter of that they sent you when they hired you in the first place. And these are not my agreements. You can't just shift me responsibilities, without these. You can't make major shifts in my responsibilities without, agreement and compensation. So you really should never have agreed to the extra responsibilities in the first place. And my guess is, how did you ask for the raise? Is another part of it. How did you bring it up? Are they upset that you asked for the raise, or are they upset how you asked for the raise? Those are two different questions. Two different things. So there may be something else there. And if you're in a position where you can't quit, you start looking for options now. Because you should never be in a position where you cannot quit. You should always have at least potential options on the table. Because what are you going to do? If you can't quit, they can just shrug their shoulders. What are you going to do? They can treat you however they want. Should they? No, but they can. And they likely know it. And so the thing is, make it so you can quit. Put yourself in a position where you can quit. And here's another little thing. The best way to get a promotion and a big raise is to change your job. You will make more money somewhere else than your company will ever give you in a raise. It's just the way things work. So, okay.
Okay. I feel guilty leaving my position after only working 2 weeks.
You're saving both do not feel guilty. You are saving both your time and their time and money. Right? If you know it's not going to work out, there's no point in staying longer. You're just making life bad for everybody. So you've saved everybody a lot of hassle. So don't feel guilty. It wasn't meant to work out. And so only working 2 weeks or a month, or you're just going to be miserable. You're not going to do the job well, right? So no, you're better off this way. So that's the way to think of it. You saved yourself time and you saved them money. Mm-hmm. Everybody moves on. It's perfectly fine. These things happen all the time. The job wasn't right for you. It wasn't a right fit. You learned that in 2 weeks. Great. You saved everybody a lot of time. So look at it that way. That would be right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. Our COO makes my team predict, track, and report the activity by the hour at the beginning of the quarter. Is this normal?
Depends on the industry. Sometimes it is, sometimes it's not. It depends on the industry. Actually, by the hour is less. Like if you work in the legal field, you're tracking your activity every 15 minutes. So, no, it's perfectly normal depending upon the industry. Yeah. Hey, man, if you're working on an assembly line, they're tracking everything you touch. And it's not to track you. That's one of the things. It's not about you. They don't care about you enough to make it about you. They need the data so they can predict future production flows, right? And they don't care how fast or slow you are. That's the production manager's job. The guy who's crunching the numbers wants to know how many whatevers we can get out of this thing under certain conditions. That's what they want to know. So I was part of this. When when we came down and they were timing us how long to do simple task takes, they stopped me from doing it because I was too fast. No, we can't time you. We're not timing you because you're throwing off all our predictions. So, and so they go and find someone else who's more average, who has a more average pace. So it's not that they care. It's not so much that they care about you in particular when they're tracking these things. They need to know the bigger data, the bigger picture. So, and a lot of times we like to personalize these things because it feels personal, but most of the time it's not. There's other reasons for it, and sometimes they're valid, sometimes they're legal. There might be a legal reason to do it, Taxes, if you're working on one type of project, it goes over to this kind of thing. If you're working on a different project, it goes into that kind of thing. We get government subsidies for this. We don't get government subsidies for that. So we have to know what you're spending your hours on. All kinds of potential things, especially if you're dealing with government contracts. So no, it could be perfectly normal depending upon the specifics in the industry. Or it could be they're overly controlling and wasting everybody's time. That's possible too. Everything is possible. All right, we want to run through these because we're already at 10, but do we want to? No. Okay, cool. I don't want to answer them anyway. So,
Sorry, folks. No sex questions tonight.
you can find them up on the website if you want.
They're on the website if you want to take a gander.
Take a gander and come up with answers on yourself.
Yeah.
But here's one. How soon is too soon to ask a guy to hook up again? As soon as you want to is the question. The guy's not going to care. So there's the answer to that one. Okay, so for me and Lovey, we want to wish you a happy Halloween, which we'll do a couple more times before Halloween gets here. And I guess that's about it.
Yeah.
Good night. And please remember to love everybody. Oh, and before we do that, I forgot. You can find us at latenightLove.us. You can send Lovey a love letter at love@latenightLove.us like normal. And we are out of here. Good night.
Good